Listen, the point here is to have a conversation, to hear from all of you as to what we need to be focused on, working on, when it comes to our efforts right now, in the immediate, this summer, to make this complex, this city, this neighborhood safer for our kids, for adults, but then also talking about what our challenges are for the long run, what are the things we got to be working on to try to tackle this problem for the long run. And it's nice because you got all levels of government here. You got your federal legislators, myself and Dick, work together as a team. You've got Marilyn Moore from the state level. You probably have Representative Stallworth here later today. You have the chief here who will be with us for the duration. And then you have the mayor who's going to be on his way later. So we can talk about this at every level. And that's real good for you because it means none of us can pass the buck. None of us can say that it's somebody else's problem because that somebody else is sitting right next to us here, right? So we have all the levels of responsibility represented here today. This is an epidemic, right? This is an epidemic. And it's wild to me that we would celebrate the fact that only a handful of people have been killed by guns in the city this year, right? That's a tragedy. And that what happened this weekend in Chicago barely made the news. You know how many people got shot in Chicago over Memorial Day weekend? 69 people got shot. 69 people got shot just this last weekend in Chicago. 69 people in one city over 3 days. About 6 or 7 of them were killed. Others are still in the hospital. That barely made the news because it's like raindrops, right? It just has become background noise. And you know what that's like because that's been the experience in this city for far too long. And so we want to come here today to have a real conversation about what we all need to be doing. And Dick and I will just speak for us because we work together every day in Washington. We wake up every single day eating, sleeping, and breathing this epidemic and trying to strategize on what we can do to make it better. But what we know and what we've learned, and what you'll tell us today, is that there is no one solution. That as ridiculous it is that we have the loosest gun laws in the nation, that we allow for illegal guns to just wash over our streets, it's not just about gun laws. That's a big part of the problem. But you got thousands of kids who are going to hit the street this summer in Bridgeport with nothing to do, with no job, with no place that's safe to go to play basketball or to just horse around with your friends, with no real programming for young kids that are still learning so that they go through the whole summer with this giant gap in learning, right? It's not automatic that kids with nothing to do pick up a gun, but it's really a health situation when you don't have any constructive outlets for kids when they hit the streets of their city over the course of the summer. And there's this sense of powerlessness and hopelessness that, just pervades too many kids' lives, which then leads them to believe that one of the only things they can control is that, piece of metal that may be in their hand at a moment of frustration, right? So this is big, right? It's about mental health, it's about gun laws, it's about summer programming, it's about youth jobs, it's about the safety of our schools, it's about our criminal justice system. This is a big conversation, but we're not here to tell you, we're here to listen to you about what we need to be working on. And so I've never gotten a good idea sitting in my office in Washington. Every good idea I've gotten has been out as part of one of these conversations. And so that's the reason that we wanted to be here today, to just have this as another way that we can start talking about what we need to do right now this summer to keep this city safe, to keep kids safe, and what we need to be doing in the long run. We certainly got some ideas, but we know you got some ideas as well. So our portion here is brief. Let me turn this over to a guy that's been fighting with me, taught me a lot about fighting. He'll turn it over to the chief, who will then turn it over to Marilyn, giving it for Senator Blumenthal.
Thank you. First, my thanks to Chris Murphy for being such a steadfast warrior in this fight against gun violence. And I want to thank our police and our firemen take for granted often what they face. They're the ones who run into burning buildings, or sometimes have to break up domestic disputes, or tour the sound of gunfire, not knowing what they are going to encounter. And among those victims of gun violence are our police and our firemen and our emergency responders. So let's keep in mind their heroism and their bravery literally under fire. And let's keep in mind also that we have a lot of good people who are working with us in this fight against gun violence. Some of them are here, Ron Pensiero and members of other groups, Street Safe, and you folks have been in the trenches for a while on this cause. Let's not take for granted that we have people of goodwill and good intention who are our allies in the community. And that may be our most important resource in a way, the local leadership. Because as we have seen again and again and again, Congress has been complicit in these repeated, relentless deaths resulting from gun violence. Congress has failed to do its job. And so more and more, it is the states and local communities that have to protect people. That's one of the reasons why we are here. This conversation is a way of informing us about how we can help you, not just pass new laws, but help you, enabling you and empowering you to take action on your own. I came here a little less than a year ago. I've been here many times since, in this very hall, for all kinds of events and celebrations. But most vividly, what I remember being in this neighborhood less than a year ago was the death of a young man, Savani McNeil, 37 years old, from this neighborhood, I believe, originally,
Yes.
living in Shelton.
Yes.
He was here at a party, as were about 40 other people. And all of a sudden, I'm going to read you from the news report. All of a sudden, as the Connecticut Post reported, there was a flash of semi-automatic fire searing the early morning. And the person who was firing that weapon said, "Kill them all." Bonnie, as he was known, died as a result of one of those shots. 8 other people were injured, including a grandmother who was doing nothing more audacious than taking a shower in her home. That is the nature of gun violence. It destroys the lives of people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time, whether it is Sandy Hook, or downtown Hartford, or New Haven, or here in Bridgeport. When we give those numbers and statistics, 30,000 people die as a result of gun violence, it's individual lives, faces, voices, your relatives, our friends, people we know who are not just killed, but their lives are transformed. Gabby Gifford is a searing reminder of what gun violence can do in transforming lives. This obligation is a moral duty. It's not like other kinds of obligations that we have. This obligation is about saving lives. Now, I know that there is a temptation to blame gangs, and there has been gang violence. There's a temptation to blame individuals, and individuals fire the weapon. But we all have this responsibility, this moral duty. We can't blame others for it. And I've come to the conclusion that we can't wait for Washington, D.C. And Connecticut has been at the forefront. We have the best, among the best laws in the nation, but no law at the state level is any stronger than the weakest law in another state, because guns have no respect for state boundaries. They cross state boundaries. We're going to continue fighting for common sense, sensible measures, background checks, ban on straw purchasing and illegal trafficking, mental health, very important, school safety, taking guns away from domestic abusers, stripping gun manufacturers of their unique legal shield, which is being tested in this very city in court. But we are here to listen and to learn about what we can do to empower and enable you to protect your own communities. In the wake of that death last year, security cameras were provided because of you. There'll be more police on the streets because of you. Your activism and your involvement can make a difference. Don't doubt that every single individual can make a difference. And listening is what we're here to do, but I just want to express my thanks to every single one of you for your commitment in giving up part of a beautiful summer evening. I'm gonna guess it's summer. After Memorial Day is summer, right? And feels like summer. In one of the finest cities in the United States. I love Bridgeport. And we're very fortunate to have as our chief of police someone I've known for, I don't want to say how many decades, but as somebody who was Attorney General of our state and United States Attorney, I have a deep admiration for people who make law enforcement their career, because ultimately they are trying to save lives as well. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, Senator Murphy, Senator Moore. So many friends in this room, so many partners, so many people that care about the city of Bridgeport. Project Longevity, Safe Streets Program, Harold over there, who just took over Project Longevity. These are the things that make a difference in the city of Bridgeport. It's their commitment, their great commitment. They're our partners. These are the people that make it possible for us to do our job. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you guys do, whether it's in Hartford or in Washington, D.C. Thank you for your commitment. I say this because I have always been an operational officer for the city of Bridgeport. I served and I protected the city, the people of the city of Bridgeport with that mentality. I'm on the street, so I know what it takes. I know what happens out there. I have Lieutenant, come here, Lieutenant. And Sergeant Amato, this is Lieutenant Johnson. We have made a partnership, okay, with the Housing Authority, and he's going to be the lieutenant leading the fight out here, whether it's here at Trumbull Garden, or it could be Green Homes, PT, and all the other places. This is the man. I also got Captain Trumbull, who is my administrative aide, and he also is going to be supervising this endeavor. Sergeant Amato, who is, I don't know, man, you never sleep. You're unbelievable. But he's out there, and anytime he's got the pulse, and anytime you need something, you can always rely on him. You can always give him a call, he picks up the phone, and he gives it to you with a good, bad indifference. And I don't say in last, least or not least, it's Yana over here. You guys do a tremendous job. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. But this is not, like the senator said, this is not about me or even them. This is about you. This is about our community, our city. Okay? I'll be damned if I have 103 people shot in the city of Bridgeport again. That will never happen again. That will never happen again. And I give you my word. Okay? And yeah, we're not resting on our laurels. We're being proactive, whether it is going after that minority, that 5% that causes a lot of violence. But you hit it right in the head. You need jobs. You need alternatives for our kids. Places that they feel safe. Places that they can come to. Okay? And learn and make a difference. Like this place right here. So, with that, I'm going to bring up the great senator from the state of Connecticut, Marilyn Moore. Thank you.
So good evening. So I see so many familiar faces in the audience. I really love the idea that the children were here because they need to know that we're trying to do better than what we've done in the past, that there is hope and people are working toward solutions. I don't think all the solutions are in the laws. I think the solutions are right here. I think you and the community are the solutions. I know there are great programs. I know Yana well. I've been affected by this violence. I've lost my brother, several nephews, and great-nephews to the violence in the street. I'm not a stranger to any of this. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to be at any more vigils. I don't want to go to any vigils. I want to stop this stuff before it gets to that point where we're looking down at our children. It's not the way it's supposed to be, and that's not what our purpose in life is, to bury our children. We have to figure out what are the solutions within the community. There are enough organizations here to come together and put together a strategic plan. I mean, we're all fragmented, and that's the way of our world. We're all fragmented doing something separately. So, Governor Malloy gave every minority senator and minority legislator, money for the last 4 years after Sandy Hook to bring back to the communities to work against youth violence. And so I am happy to say that the money was cut somewhat, but the money will be coming back here, and places like Debbie Sims will have some to work, and Teresa Wilson, and there'll be other organizations that will be able to do some great things. It's my hope, because it's almost $500,000 for 1 year. It's my hope that you all will come together and figure out what's the best way to use that money to keep our children out of the streets, away from the violence, and do some real work before it happens, not after. And so you have my support, and I've already talked to Debbie and some people to talk to them about what's coming down the road and how I can support, and I'm here for the community. But I want us to do stuff together. And I think that's when we're going to be more powerful. But even for our children to see us working together from different parts of town. I know there's gang affiliation. I know some people can't go in certain places. But we as adults, we can come together and figure out what the plan is. Because when all the money is gone and all the people are not elected and not here, what do we have? We only have ourselves. So we have to work together and make it better. And I'm here for you, whether I'm the legislator or I'm at the Witness Project, wherever I am, I make myself available all the time to do whatever I can to help. So you can look forward to that for me, and that's my commitment to you. Thank you.
All right, so you're going to use that? How about that? All right. So you're going to use that mic for the audience? Okay, guys, so listen, what you sort of heard the gamut of the things that we're working on. Connecticut's already passed some of the strongest laws in the country. Obviously, they got a big budget problem at the state level, which makes funding some of these initiatives harder, as Marilyn said. Dick did a great job of running through a lot of the things that we're talking about at the federal level, whether it be background check laws, gun trafficking laws, funding for after school and summer employment programs. But we really want to hear from you. We want to hear from you about what's working, what's not working, where there aren't enough resources, what your priority list would be. give us a little bit of a picture as to what we all should be working on. We're happy to answer questions as well. So if you got questions for us, we're happy to answer those. So let's.
I have a slew of kids over here who religiously depended on this building and depended on the staff. No, we didn't have a lot of resources financially. Myself and Janine Staley, who was also a staff worker here in this building, amongst the other staff members, we've come out of our own pockets to finance this building in addition to provide resources for these kids. I don't know what it is that you all can do. This building needs to be open.
That's right.
I can't see when everybody I see when my people going. It is what it is. This was a safe haven. No, we didn't save every child, but we saved some. Everybody that comes through here, y'all come with your cameras, you come with the politicians, and you don't even go home. My babies don't have nothing. Nothing. And you want the kids that I birthed, but you know what? They're mine. They not in, I was not in. From the time this building opened to the time the building closed, they were here under my service. And then you have people out in the community, and no, that's another thing. You know, you guys are hosting a community event, and nobody from Beardsley Terrace, Trumbull Gardens is in this building. And yes, it does represent citywide, I understand that process, but at the same time, this is their home. When you're shut out of your own house, how would you feel? I got to drive past here every day to an empty parking lot. And on days, you're hosting 60, 70, 80 kids, depending on what was going on in the building. I've taken away from my own family. My kids, my own kids that I birthed, they've been in this building from the time they were like 2 or 3 years old up until last summer. So again, I'm speaking on behalf of the North Bay Trumbull Gardens community. At the end of the day, I understand budgets are low. Heck, I'm going through it myself on the state level, not knowing my position in my job. But it is what it is. You expect great things out of the community and expect great things out of these kids, and then you leave them with nothing. You leave them with nothing. So I got a phone call saying, hey, what's going on at the center? You know, there's some news crew outside. I make my business to drop my kids off to come straight here. Because these kids need it. I know what I can do financially for mine, but I know what I was doing for them. I didn't leave them because the doors closed. The bonds still remain. I don't know what you can do, but this building needs to be open.
Called the Housing Authority back in January, February, to try and find out why it wasn't open. We wanted to do a cooking class. We understood there were some parents up here who wanted to do fresh fruits and vegetables, and I do see a board member here, and Mr. Byers is here. We wanted to do fresh fruits and vegetables. They wanted to sell to the neighborhood and do some economic development. And I didn't get a response, and the response should have been in April. When I didn't get the response, Stevie said he was going. I said, I'm going to go also. And we did ask them, when are you going to open up this center? It's getting ready to get hot. It's already hot. Where are the children going to go, and why is the center not open? Now, we didn't get a response, but I am expecting a response, because I said, don't make your problem my problem, because when it becomes my problem, it's a completely different thing. So we're going to find out what it's going to take to get this center open in the next couple of weeks. And Mr. Byers did tell us it was going to be opening soon. He could respond if he'd like to for himself, but it needs to be open. I totally agree. And I totally agree that the answer for everything that needs to get done is right here. You don't need people to come from outside to tell you what to do. You all have everything you need. You just need some of the money to do it yourselves and to pull together and do it. So I got you. I totally agree.
We have children that want jobs. Now it's a lottery. You got to go into this lottery, and you got to meet certain criteria where you have to have certain grade level. My son is an honor roll student every marking period. He was denied for the second year. So that just strays them and make them feel like, they don't have no outlet. And what do? They run to the streets. So as you said, we have to do better as a community. We have to do better, period. This funding is going to the wrong people, and we have already talked to the governor about this. We were told to find out where the funding is going. We know where the funding is going, and they're using it for their own personal use. And we're going to call it like we see it because it's the truth. It's not being used for our children.
Before the senators, I know that they're covering a lot of territory. Keith, they have to leave, or as we approach that period of time, I want to say, first of all, I agree with you to a point, Well, let me just say a couple positive things. First of all, Yana, we're looking around here. George, you made a point about the responsibility of the community. We're looking around here, the ministers, Reverend McCluskey looking around the room, and so many others, Mr. Francis. So we've got the heart and the soul of the community here that wants to and continues to make a positive difference. This is a critical element here. Two, I will tell you on a more focused note, we haven't really had it out there. Our meetings, following up on, trying to begin the process of our dialogue, my dialogue with you, along with Stevie and Kingsley and others, was focused just the other way. I don't know about where the money's been going in the past and what's been going on with all that. But our focus was just to surgically reach those that we thought really needed the help when they were the most challenged. And I learned a lot by sitting there in a conference room with them, and we had, 20 at a time from different parts of the city, just trying to get an understanding of why somebody feels like they need to carry a gun, why they just need to have it. And the answer many times is because everybody else has got one. And we know where it goes from there, and some of the dialogue. I don't have the answers. All I'm saying is I think on a pod, and your point is made, if the resources are there, the scarce resources, whether they're city resources, whether they come from the state or from the government, federal resources, don't go in the right place and aren't focused on where we need it, it's not going to make the difference. So we're on the same page on that. In my short few months, those meetings that we have had, we've tried to do just the opposite of what was suggested. So I want you to know, that's right. But it's all looking around here. I know everybody's not here, but we do have a good cross-section of those that do make a difference. John, you as an organization especially. So I just want to add that, kind of like, it's not all going the wrong way. I do get it. That's why I asked to follow up on your question earlier.